Hello, welcome to this presentation about the career of parole officer. Hopefully this presentation informs you about being a parole officer. This is an assignment for an online course, Introduction to Human Services through North Iowa Area Community College. We will go through the basics of being a parole officer, the duties, salaries, working conditions, and how to become a parole officer, among other topics. This seems to be a career ideal for someone who is interested in both social work and the law. Consider this career for yourself. Probation officers provide social services to assist in rehabilitation of law offenders in custody or on probation or parole. Meeting with and interacting with current and former convicts is the basic job of the parole officer. Parole officers work to ensure that the client is following the path the judicial branch has set out for them. Probation officers typically do the following duties. Interview with probationers and parolees, their friends and their relatives in an office or at a residence to assess progress. Evaluate probationers and parolees to determine the best course of rehabilitation. Provide probationers and parolees with resources such as job training. Test offenders for drugs and offer substance abuse counseling. Complete pre-hearing investigations and testify in court regarding offenders' backgrounds. Write reports and maintain case files on offenders. Parole officers are the personal connection that clients have in dealing with the judicial branch. They must pull from a variety of disciplines to ensure client success. A bachelor's degree is required to become a parole officer. Criminal justice, sociology, and psychology are all great fields to look into. In addition, most employers will require a candidate to complete competency exams, drug testing, and criminal background checks. Most probation officers must complete training programs, after which they must pass a certification test. In addition, they may be required to work as trainees on probation themselves for up to 1 year before getting a permanent position. There are some important qualities in which parole officers should have. Communication skills are important. Probation officers must be able to effectively interact with probationers, probationers' families, lawyers, judges, treatment providers, and law enforcement. Critical thinking skills are also important. Probation officers must be able to assess the needs of individual clients before determining the best resources for helping them. They must have decision-making skills. Probation officers must consider the best rehabilitation plan for offenders. Parole officers need emotional stability because they must cope with hostile individuals and otherwise upsetting circumstances on the job. Parole officers also need to have high organizational skills. Probation officers manage multiple cases at the same time. As you can see, this is a very demanding occupation. The annual median wage for parole officers is around $50,000. New parole officers can expect to make around $35,000, while more tenured parole officers can reach $90,000 per year. Most parole officers are full-time employees with their hours depending on the department in which they work. Most parole officers can expect to be on call for extended periods of time, but usually for no more than 24 hours. The vast majority of parole officers, over 90%, work for state and local governments. Parole officers have to work with clients, working with their social, emotional, and physical problems to help them stay on the right path as set out by the judicial branch. Parole officers have to work with families, building support systems, sometimes rebuilding relationships, maybe broken by previous offenses. They have to work in high crime areas, which may not always be cooperative. And they have to work with the court system, deadlines, reports, changes in all these legal battles with judges or lawyers. All this can create a hectic working environment. This hectic working environment can lead to high stress levels. There's many different factors on whether a client succeeds or not, and sometimes clients don't always succeed. High stress can lead to higher rewards. Balancing the job of law enforcement and social worker and seeing positive incomes in others drives back people to the job every day. The job outlook for probation officers is looking good. Between 2016 and 2026, there's an estimated 6% growth. As heavy workloads, high stress, and retirements deplete the current workers in the field, communities will continue to look for new probation officers to help them and their communities. Being bilingual, of course, will help your interactions with individuals and communities, and Spanish speakers are being sought out for the position of parole officers currently. Understanding the basic sociological and psychological needs of clients is extremely important to be a parole officer. The education and training that you're given really puts you at the nexus of law enforcement and social work. Being able to help clients meet their assigned goals can build not only the individual, but families and communities stronger. Helping and caring for others in a positive manner establishes relationships that can have a lifelong impact, not only to the client, but for the parole officer as well. This is definitely worthy work. I hope this presentation helped inform you a little bit more about the occupation of parole or probation officer. Many websites came and helped making this presentation. If you're very interested in this occupation, I highly suggest you look at the 3 links at the bottom. Those are links to Iowa State, Iowa, and UNI and their degrees, which will help you become a probation officer yourself. Thank you. Have a nice day.